I used to be paid massive flop because of NBA Youngboy.
What's good,
Let's see
YouTube?
what
It's
he's talking
Justice.
about.
I used to be paying.
I ain't gonna lie, I did not listen to that album. This album, MASA or MASA. I don't know what it's supposed to stand for. I did not listen to the album. Um, and I heard it was trash, so I just didn't listen to it. Which that's kind of disappointing though, because this is his first album after he got out, right? So it's like I just expect better. But I mean, shit, it is
Today
what
I'm
it
back
is.
with another video, and in this video, I'm going to be telling
But
you
some
why
niggas like it
NBA
though.
Youngboy is the reason that MASA failed. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. We are on the road to 100K. Now, when
Mm.
looking at the full scope of Make America Slime Again, the newest album by NBA
Okay, it's
Youngboy,
Make America Slime Again.
I think it's pretty clear that this album is a disappointment. Even the biggest Youngboy fans in the world will tell you at least that this album didn't really live up to their expectations by
Oh, did he name it that because of Trump or?
whatever metric you
Oh yeah, because I heard he was glazing Trump, right? So he named it Make America Slime. Okay,
want to look at
my
it from.
bad.
When talking about the numbers, this album sold 50K first week, which is
Damn,
a
that's not
pretty
bad
low mark
actually.
for a guy of NBA Youngboy's stature and popularity in the rap game.
I don't think that's bad for Youngboy because he drops albums all the time, so I don't think it's
In
bad
terms of
for
the
him.
music, there's some decent stuff on here. It's okay. It's kind of hit or miss. You know, there's some stuff that you can enjoy, but for the most part, you're not really
I don't even think he hyped it up that much, did he?
missing anything if you kind of skip over this album in Youngboy's discography. And this is nowhere near one of his better projects. And in terms of building hype for the tour that's happening later on this year, which is
Oh, the
probably the
tour hasn't
main
started yet.
job that MASA had as an album, was to get people excited to go to that tour. I think it failed there. I don't think that anybody who wasn't already going to the tour is now going to the tour because of this album. I'm sure there might be like a handful, but for the most part, that's really not the sentiment that's going on there. There are a lot of factors that play into an album's success, but regardless of all of that, everything starts and ends with NBA Youngboy, and he is the reason that this album is not the success that it could have been. The first and most undeniable issue with this album is effort. One of the best ways to make people care about your art is to show them how much you care about it yourself. But if you don't really care, it's going to be kind of hard for other people to care as well. And that's how I felt about NBA Youngboy with this album. It just didn't feel like he cared a whole bunch about this project. He wasn't trying to get a whole bunch of people talking about this album. He wasn't doing a ton of interviews and live streams. He's in the studio showing us snippets and all that. He wasn't posting on social media about this
Do niggas really watch those? I don't know. I just wonder who's really watching those. Cause I don't think I've ever watched a. Actually, no, I've tried to, but every time I've tried to, it's just super boring. So I haven't done it in mad long. I don't know. I'm talking about IG lives. Like, do people really watch IG lives? I feel like it's the most boring.
album.
It's the most boring shit ever because nobody on there tries to like actually entertain unless they're doing snippets or whatever.
Just didn't really give a legitimate effort
You know
in
what
order
I'm
to
saying?
garner hype for this album. So when I see that
That's loud. That's
and
not
other
you
people
loud.
see that, there's kind of a thing of like, hey, this guy doesn't really care, so why should I? He kind of put this album out in the same way that I work my 9 to 5. Listen, I show up to work every day. I put in my hours. I do what I'm supposed to do. I meet my requirements, but that's it. I'm not showing up because this is my passion and I love to do it and I just want to go super, super hard. And that's what music is supposed to be. Music is supposed to be an art. Music is supposed to be something that you make out of passion
Yeah,
that you're really, really proud of. And that
yeah,
just didn't exist with this album. He
yeah,
showed up for this album the way that I show up for my 9 to 5. I do my
yeah,
work,
man.
but there's no extracurricular. There's not me trying to do this and go up, and beyond. I'm just here to get paid and do what I'm supposed to do. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because technically this is his job. And if he's thinking about it the way that I think about my job, then that just makes him human. But at the same time, we see the results of him entering this album with that kind of attitude. Over the last few months, we've seen the effects of actually trying on a rollout. Clips just had one of the best rollouts in recent memory. They sold over 100K first week on their first album in 15 years at 50 years old. Now, they did have bundles in a part of those sales, but still, the attention that came from this album came from the rollout. In Tyler, the Creator's short period of time between announcing and dropping the
Yeah, I think that shit is just old heads united. To be honest, not that like I'm sure it's a good album. I haven't listened to it because I've never really listened to the clips. I started listening to them after, or I was after that time really. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just a lot of old heads united shit with them. I don't know. Maybe that's just hate, but I
Album, he
feel
put a
like yeah.
statue at the World Trade Center. Drake is doing his first rollout in years. He's never done a rollout over the last 5 years or so. He just kind of drops his album, but even he has seen the importance of a rollout, and he's putting
Yeah.
hidden messages and meanings and symbols throughout his rollout in order to
I
get
wonder how
people
much Drake is
engaged. And
gonna sell now. I mean, there's gonna be people that don't listen to him, that don't listen to it just because. But I actually don't know how big that group is. And I don't know if that group was ever listening to Drake anyway. I don't know. I wonder if he's gonna sell more or less than usual with the rollout that
invested
he's
in an
doing.
album before it's even here. It feels like we're entering a new era of rollouts in this internet age, and Youngboy didn't even try. He actually, if anything, killed his
To be honest though, he's probably gonna do a big like a bunch of bundles and shit like Iceman merch or whatever.
rollout
So
by dropping
yeah.
like half of the album on the 4th of July and then waiting almost a month later to drop the rest. He dropped a 30-song album and he dropped the first 10 songs and then waited 3 weeks to drop the other 20 songs. Like, what sense does that even make? NBA Youngboy
Should have just been 2 albums, 15, just like that.
has a legion of parasocial fans that's really only rivaled by Playboi Carti, and he just didn't activate them for this album. The way to really activate those types of fans is to make them feel like they're a part of something. Make them really feel like they're NBA or they're 4K Trey or whatever the heck. That's how you get them engaged, and that's how you get them to stick around for your album. And Youngboy just didn't really try to engage his fans for this album in any way, shape, or form. All he had to do was like a Kai Cenat stream, an Aiden Ross stream, a Black Boy Max streams, or all three of them if you really wanted to get out there and really go crazy. Now, I understand not everybody likes the streaming world. Not everybody wants to be on camera live doing that and all that. But, like, if you want to make this album a huge deal, you do what you got to do, bruh. And I say that he could have done a Kai Cenat stream because that's how easy it is, especially for a guy like him and the fan base that he has. All he would have had to do was a 3-hour NBA or a 3-hour Kai Cenat stream, and the clips that would have went from there would have been crazy. They would have ignited this album to a whole nother level. That's how really simple it would have been for Youngboy because of the fan base that he has. Or even if he didn't do a stream with them, maybe he just set up his own Twitch live stream and he just like answered some questions for about an hour, previewed a new music video or something and left it there. I guarantee you the hype for this album would have been way more than what it was when it actually came out in real life. Like, no matter what you feel about Playboi Carti, whether you like him or hate him, you can't deny that he's really good at activating his parasocial fans. It's just the truth. Even his backup Insta, his Finsta, the concept of having a Finsta page that's for the real fans, you know, Opium's for the real fans who are really locked in, where Carti's super active over there and he's posting and hinting at things. It really just made Carti's fans feel like they were on the team. They felt like they were a part of the team. They felt like they really
It's inside
mattered
baseball.
when it came to
Yeah.
this album and his rollout for music. And with Youngboy, he just didn't do that for his fan base. And in return, his entire fan base wasn't as interested. We can continue down the line of effort when talking about the music on this album because while there is good music, you can clearly tell that for Youngboy, this is just another album. For as much as people like to label Youngboy as a street rapper who just makes violent music, he truly is great at being emotionally vulnerable and making music that as a listener, you can really feel. Whether he's rapping about how he was raised and the things that he saw making him who he is today, or it's about a woman in his life or a friend that he lost, Youngboy is a great storyteller when he wants to be. This album was not that. Mind you, there is good music here, but when I listen to this music, it feels like he didn't really have anything to say. Again, this just felt like a work assignment rather than something he truly cared about. The concept of Make America Slime Again was very interesting to me, at least. This was his first
Yeah.
album since being released from prison, and
Exactly. He could
also
have done a lot with that.
receiving a presidential pardon, which is nuts.
He got pardoned. It was his first album since prison. And then yeah, and then on top of that, I think now he doesn't have like he's not on house arrest anymore. So before the prison shit, he was in Utah for however many years. Nigga, that's crazy. He
Much
could
as
have
I
done so
can't
much with that.
stand Donald Trump, I can't deny that there was something interesting there. There was an interesting story to be told, and the perspective of this album could have been really, really cool. He was
That
the
nigga got
hottest
knee
rapper in
pads
the
on.
game in like 2021. Everyone on the internet was clamoring for
Oh, it's the
everything that he
sweats.
did. Everyone was buzzing. They couldn't wait for a tour. They couldn't wait for some sort of performance, but he couldn't do it because of his legal issues. Now, almost 4 years later, he's back and he has a pardon from the United States president. He has a pardon from the highest office in the land for some reason. And now he's back out and about to go on a tour. He could have told us the story of, some of the missed opportunities that he had and the regrets that he had during that time period of being so hot and not being able to deliver for the fans, or maybe just telling us a story about how he's trying to get back lit again. Where's everybody at? Everybody was saying they love Youngboy a few years ago. Well, come back now so I can show the love back to you guys. Something interesting there. But we didn't really get any of that. We didn't get any explanation about anything with Trump. We didn't hear about something that happened there. It was just kind of like another album where, except this time, Youngboy says MASA a few times and shouts out Donald Trump. Speaking of the music specifically, at least at this point in time, there hasn't been anything that's really gone up, like, let alone the lack of creativity and the lack of storytelling. In terms of numbers, there's no song from this album that's really caught fire on social media or just in general blowing up with numbers. There isn't a hit on this album, at least at this very moment in time. More than anything, though, this album felt like a contractual obligation to build up hype for his tour. Yet, I don't feel more excited after listening to this album to go to his tour. If anything, I kind of hope that he doesn't really play anything from this album, bar a handful of songs. Probably. And yes, I do want to hear him perform XXX. I think that would be hilarious. But regardless, there's not a lot here where I'm like, oh man, now I'm super. Now, I was already thinking about getting a ticket. Now I super need a ticket. And I don't think that there are a massive legion of people who were considering buying a ticket who heard MASA and immediately went, yeah, I definitely got to go now. Or people who were like, I'm kind of cool. And then they heard MASA and they're like, oh my God, now I have to give away my hard-earned money. I just don't think that's the case. So in terms of this album having the job of building up hype for his tour, I think it failed, and I think it failed pretty aggressively. I still do believe that the tour will be super successful and do really well and sell a bunch of tickets in every city and maybe damn near have a sellout in every single city. I just don't think that this album will be a reason as to why. It won't be a factor as to why. If anything, I would blame this album if this tour has lower ticket sales than expected. To me, this album really just felt like NBA Youngboy doesn't have a ton of passion for music right now, which is fine. He just got out of prison. He just got finished with all his legal troubles. Maybe he just wants to live a normal life and he's just enjoying that. According to academics, he's enjoying living a regular life so much that he might even be considering canceling his tour.
But he's like, being out of the country, where I could somewhat kind of be regular, I feel so free. I'm delaying my time as much as I can. I don't want to come back yet. So it's like, you want to come link me out here? I'm like, out of the country so much. He's like, so should I postpone the tour a little bit? Enjoy myself? I'm like, no, that's what you can't do.
Which is
I remember when them niggas were beefing.
We all lose passion.
What them niggas even beefing about again?
And if he just wants to go and live his regular life, that's perfectly fine.
What Youngboy and Academics beefing about? It was like,
because of it. It suffers in artistic vision, in quality,
I don't even remember.
Hype, and all of it is directly tied to Youngboy and what he ended up putting in to this project. And what he put into this project is what we got out of it, and it ain't looking too hot. But if you made it to the end of this video, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, and comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. It helps me out a ton. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.
Word. All right. That's peace. That's peace. That's peace. All right. Okay. If you fuck with the video, you know what to do, bro. Like and subscribe, bro. We going to 1K. We going Cloud9 on niggas.